Hello and welcome to Building the Premier Accounting Firm. I'm your host, Roger Knecht, president of Universal Accounting Center, and this is a show dedicated to helping owners of bookkeeping, accounting, and tax businesses build thriving businesses, offering quality accounting services and helping you get paid what you are worth. Each week I have on the show various guests, experts, to actually help us on the things that we need to be working on as we run our business, from things related to onboarding clients, training our staff, mental health, perhaps even pricing, marketing, and sales. It's just those things that we need to be concerned with as we're trying to build our organizations and offer quality accounting services. Now, today I have an amazing guest, someone I'm excited to have on the show. She founded a business called Apple Tree Marketing in 2000. It's Chantal Cornelius. She actually had spent 2 decades helping hundreds of service businesses grow and achieve their business goals by making stronger emotional connections with their clients. Chantal knows that the key to outstanding and quality services is to stand out from competitors. It's to actually build strong, lasting relationships with clients. Her mission is to help business owners realize that the path to success doesn't just involve churning out endless social content. In her work, Chantal introduces service-based businesses to the different standout strategies that they can use to make their best emotional connections with their clients. She explains how to utilize them in order to stand out from their competitors by incorporating more emotion and empathy into their work. Her third book, actually scheduled to be released in the fall of 2024, further explores the emotions behind consumers' buying decisions. When she's not showing her clients how to blow their own trumpets, Chantal is actually the national president of the Professional Speaking Association in the UK, and can also be found riding her horse, walking her dog, or working in her garden. So Chantal, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Roger. That's a very long introduction I sent you. I should do some work on that.
Well, you're leading an amazing life, doing incredible things. So we want to give credit where it's due. So this is great. So I'm going to enjoy this conversation because I do believe that at the end of the day, accounting is a people business. It is something that we personally relate to our clients on a variety of levels, something I want to expound on today with you. But I'm curious, what even started you to want to even start the business back in 2000? What was that catalyst that really got you to say, well, I need to go out and do something on my own and really have a message here to share?
Do you want the really honest answer?
I want the honest one. I want the one that nobody else knows.
Okay, I set up my business because I am rubbish at working for other people.
I can take that.
My dad used to tease me about this a lot. I never managed to stick with a job for more than 18 months. I left university and I think I had 7 or 8 different jobs, bounced around, not really knowing what I wanted to do. Ended up doing marketing for a printing company, and it was not good at all. And a number of my friends, colleagues had gone off and set up their own businesses. And I thought, you know what, I could do this. I could go and be my own boss. So I did. I jumped ship one day. I left it wasn't a very well paid job, but it was a full-time job with a salary. And I left it and went and set up on my own. And I have never regretted it.
That is incredible. You know, I think a lot of my listeners can relate to that because at the end of the day, there is for many an entrepreneurial bug. You just can't work for someone else. That independence is something that's just drawing you to go out and be on your own.
Yeah. I actually used to argue with my bosses. I got sacked quite a few times for arguing with bosses because obviously I knew better, but they didn't think so. So, there we go.
Well, although you wouldn't go out and do it again in the sense of going back to work, you have your business, but I would imagine that the internal conflicts that you have, the discussions you have are pretty vibrant. So that's good. That's what a good entrepreneur has. So let's kind of dive into this because the first thing I want to emphasize for my listeners is the fact that you bring the personal nature to business to light, the fact that we are people and that there needs to be this emotional connection. And the reason why this really resonates with me is because one of the things that we emphasize as it relates to accounting is the fact that we become, for so many of our clients, their trusted strategic advisor, which is to say they may confide in us, with us, things that no one else knows. Financially, emotionally, there's a lot going on here. And to be able to connect with them emotionally is a big deal. So what would you add to that as it relates to businesses working with their clients?
You've hit on something really important there, in that the phrase "people buy from people" is is never true, and particularly with service businesses. So I work with a lot of coaches, consultants, trainers, speakers. I've worked with accountants and Reiki healers and website designers and anyone who is selling themselves, their
Hmm.
time, their expertise. There has to be a fairly massive level of trust between them and the client, and you can't build that trust without some sort of emotional connection. It's not like when you're selling a product. I've got two different mugs on my desk. One of them is blue with white spots and one of them is pink with gold writing on. And if I was selling a product like that, I could go, would you want the blue one? Do you want the pink one? The blue one's a bit smaller, the pink one's a bit bigger. There are lots of features. With services, you can't do that. You can't show somebody up front, this is what it's going to look like. So when I say to potential clients, I will get you new clients, they have to trust me. They can see proof from other clients, but they can't see concrete evidence. So they have to trust me. And absolutely, with accounting and bookkeeping, anyone buying an accountancy bookkeeping service absolutely has to trust the person they're going to work with, because you know what's going on in behind the scenes and in the business. So as long as everything is above board and legal,
Yeah.
you still, I have to trust my accountant and bookkeeper. I have a bookkeeper who I've worked with for years, and I'm devastated because she's retiring, and I completely trust Leanne to just get on with whatever needs to be done. So really important that for service businesses, there is that high level of trust, and that comes from emotional connections with other people.
I'm really grateful that you brought this up, because there's a lot of talk right now that, and it's been going on for a few years, that accounting is being commoditized, that bookkeeping, tax is being commoditized, and it's more competitive as it relates to pricing, because at the end of the day, the customer perceives it as just a deliverable product. But your
Yeah.
point is very valid. At the end of the day, we are still a service business, and there's not too much of a tangible as it relates to the financials. It's more than just a piece of paper that the numbers are printed out on. There's a trust that the accuracy is there, and that we've actually used some strategy. So I think we really need to give more credit to what we're trying to say is commoditized. And I really think that that's very important. So I know you speak to 5 standout strategies that you've identified that are helpful to service businesses.
Yeah.
Let's introduce my audience to the 5 strategies you've identified.
Okay, so this work is something I've been working on and researching for 9 years, so since 2015.
Hmm.
I started looking at what really makes businesses stand out, because standard USPs, unique selling points, they don't work for service businesses. They work when you're selling mugs or phones or water bottles. But when you're, what we've just been talking about, when you're providing a service, you can't compare them in the same way. So I started digging into this and discovered that there has been some work around the emotions behind why people buy. Research has shown that 95% of our buying decisions are made emotionally and subconsciously. So I might walk into a store and look at something, and my head and my heart have already decided I'm buying it without me actually, having to think about it. I
Yeah.
then rationalize it with the remaining 5% and saying, yes, I will buy that red jumper because it goes with those jeans or whatever. So there has been a lot more research into this. So I carried on digging, and I've identified 5 strategies. Every business will have one of these 5 strategies. There's one strategy that will make your business stand out.
Okay.
So let me run you through them. Run through them with you quickly.
Yeah.
Getting words in a mess. Okay. The first one is called certainty. This is where clients, and bear in mind, this is about how clients feel when they work with you. It's not how we as the service provider feel or how we want to feel. It's how the client wants to feel.
Perfect.
So certainty is about being a safe pair of hands. So, for instance, with an accountancy firm, people turning up on time, people getting the books done on time and meeting deadlines, that sort of thing. That's what certainty would look like. Connection is the second one. I did some work with an accountancy firm in London last year, and they actually use connection because aside from doing all the wonderful math that they do on the numbers, they also run events for their clients. So their clients can come to their office every few months, meet other clients, meet other suppliers. So they've become known as a business that has resources.
Yeah.
So if I was one of their clients, and I might say to them, I need a marketing consultant or a proofreader or a painter and decorator, they know people. So they connect. And that really makes them stand out, because doing the books for them it's just kind of standard, but they use connection to promote their business as well. Number 3 is called contribution. And this is about when clients want to feel part of something bigger, but they want to have, they might want to have a more of an environmental impact. Charities, when they get it right, they use contribution. They don't just say, oh, make a donation. They say, make a donation and you will help a child in the third world to grow up and have the most fabulous life. It gives you a sort of a more warm and fuzzy feeling. So contribution is about paying it forward, giving back, those sorts of feelings. The 4th one is growth. This is when clients might actually work with an accountancy firm because they want to grow their business and they need a team that can help them do that. In the past, I've had accountants who will look at my numbers and say, oh, if you did this, then you might save some tax, but maybe this, and giving extra advice, helping my business to grow. And the 5th one is significance. This is about helping clients who want to feel heard, want to feel seen, want to make more of an impact. I'm trying to think of an example if that would work with an accountancy firm. It might do. I'll have to think, but I haven't come across an accountancy firm or a bookkeeper for whom significance is the top strategy. But, there might be somebody out there. So those are the 5.
So let's walk through these, and I think we can actually address each of them very well. So the first one's certainty.
Yeah.
You indicated obviously that is that the customer has confidence that the work being done is, let's say, timely, it's accurate, it's something that's going to avoid deadlines or penalties. But I think with the certainty, one of the things that's very important to me as it relates to accounting and tax services is it's the certainty that you're doing this in a way that can help me more intelligently run my business.
Yeah.
I'm getting hopefully information that's essential for me to make the right decisions about my company. So yes, the numbers are accurate. I have to trust that what you're putting down is right. I have to trust that it's timely, that I'm able to use the information still. I'm hitting, not getting into issues with deadlines and such. So that's all really relevant to me as it relates to the accounting services I'm offering. Now, the next one was contribution. Is that right?
No, connection.
Connection, that's right. So connection, I've experienced that numerous times wherein as an accounting professional, just because of the different clients that we service and more importantly, because of the networking that I've done, I do become kind of that resource, as you indicated, where I can introduce my clients to a variety of things. I've got one client that I work with right now where they needed some lending. They needed to purchase some equipment. And for that reason, I was able to introduce them to different lending entities. They went to their bank, they went to some different lending companies, and they found solutions for them to be able to purchase the equipment that they need. And so what it is it's kind of being that connector, as you pointed out, where all of a sudden we're actually now helping them find what they need to grow their business, because so often they're kind of in that myopic day-to-day, I'm running the company, and we've hopefully gotten some connections and introductions to various tools and resources, contexts that we can introduce them to. And I think that's valuable. That's very, very important. If you can, as the accounting professional, be that resource, that's phenomenal. So let's go down to the third one. The third one was contribution then, right?
Yes.
All right. So with contribution, there's a few things here. You brought up the idea of nonprofits and donations. The thing that I thought was interesting is it's the therefore what. You're in business, you're doing what, and it's helping our clients recognize that they can be a contributing member to society. One of the things that comes to mind for me is the fact that when we can help our clients grow, we're giving opportunities for employment to someone else in the community. The economy is built so often on the backbone of the small business community. When small businesses are succeeding, the economy is doing well. When the small business is doing well, people have career opportunities, employment opportunities. And so that's phenomenal that we're able to build and open doors because we as accounting professionals, in my opinion, enable these businesses to be successful. We're
Yeah.
helping them manage cash flow. We're helping them understand how to grow the business. We're helping them
Hmm.
understand business models, and that's very powerful. So let's go to growth. This is
Hmm.
one that typically doesn't come up much in accounting, but I do believe that there is a great deal of value for the accounting professional to get into the numbers of the business beyond just the accounting numbers and
Absolutely.
address the ROI as it's associated with revenue. What
Yeah.
advertising is working? What different strategies are being implemented in the company to generate revenue? And then that last one, what was the last one? Forgive me.
Significance.
Significance.
Yeah.
I want to say that for the accounting individuals I work with as accounting professionals, they become very much the integral part of the successes of the clients they service. So
Mm.
many of the people I work with have phenomenal relationships with their clients, where at the end of the day, after working with, let's say, the accounting firm for 2, 3, 4 years, they get to
Mm.
the point like you just shared about your accountant. They
Mm.
get to the point where they come to retire, and you're not indifferent about that. You're now emotionally connected. You're like, no, how am I going to do my business without you?
Yeah.
And that's powerful. And I think my listeners need to understand that so many of their clients may see them exactly as you see your accountant right
Mm.
now. I think you said her name is Lynn, right?
Leanne.
Leanne, yeah, that's something valuable that we
Yeah.
as accounting professionals need to realize. So, how am
Mhm.
I doing with these 5 standout strategies?
You're doing pretty well. Contribution. Contribution, I think, would work more because remember, it's about the emotions that the client wants to feel.
Okay.
So, if there was an accountancy firm who was particularly good at charitable giving or corporate social responsibility
Okay.
or really, really, really good environmental values and awareness. So, for instance, if I, as a client, was really keen to work with an accountancy firm that was totally green, didn't use any single-use plastic, was really aware of what was going on the planet, if there was an accountancy firm that shouted about that in their marketing, I would be attracted to them because that would help me to feel that I was making a contribution as well through them.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. There are a number of businesses, and I knew some friends that in their master's program learned of this philanthropic type
Yeah,
of approach to marketing.
that's it. Yeah.
What we've done in our business to kind of leverage this, and admittedly, we don't really tout this much, it's more
Mm.
low key, it's more subtle. We, for the last number of years, have actually helped a Haitian community center in the
Mm.
Dominican Republic,
Okay.
wherein we've actually gone there on numerous occasions and actually helped build the center, provide a number of resources to the center, and it's really meant to help the Haitian refugee community that's there in the
Mhm.
Dominican Republic that struggles quite a bit. And there's
Yeah.
a variety of reasons for that. But one of the things that's a story related to that is the fact that we were able to finally put a roof on the building. Before it was just tarps, and
Mhm.
you've got daily rains that come through in
Yeah.
the Caribbean there. Well,
Yeah.
one time, just after doing the roof, within a few months, a hurricane came through. And the
Um,
hurricane, because of what it was doing to the center there, it was a congregational place for all the people in the community to come, where
mhm.
different houses were destroyed. Many people's homes were really devastated, but they were able to congregate there in this structure that was really well built at that point. And we didn't realize that it was that quickly going to be realized, but all of a sudden here was this benefit. So yeah, it's something to be nice. And coincidentally, just a few weeks ago, my team was asking when we might be returning because they want to wrap up a few things that we started there.
Okay.
So
Nice.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It does
That's good.
connect a lot of people to
Yeah.
your business when they can see that indirectly by using your services, they're perhaps supporting a good
Mhm.
cause.
Yeah, exactly. And the other one that where you when you talked about significance, that
Yes.
one, yeah, that one I've not seen in accountancy firms. That is more when a client wants to feel seen, heard, listened to. They want to feel more of an impact. I see it a lot with coaches. I've actually had some coaching with a lady who is a performance coach. I had back surgery a bit over a year ago and was booked to go and speak at an event. knew that I wouldn't be able to bounce on stage because I now have metalwork in my back and I can't bounce around as much as I used to. So I worked with her on creating a bigger impact and having more presence on stage without being able to move. I can wave my arms around. So that's an example of significance. So I'm not sure if it would work with accountants. I suppose the other way it works, where I have seen it in service businesses, is where the service provider, their main aim is to make the client happy. So the accounting bit that's expected. But if as an accountant you always answer the phone and you know exactly who your clients are and you know when their birthdays are and you know what their dogs and their children are called, that's an element of significance because it makes the client feel special. So that could work. That could, if there are accountancy firms like that with clients who really want to feel special, that could work.
Very interesting. I'm going to ask, because of the coaching services that I offer, I experience what I think you're describing, wherein I initially begin the coaching with what's referred to as engage and manifest. I want to understand my client, their reason for starting the business, their why as to what it is they're trying to accomplish through their company. And as I go through this conversation with them over a number of weeks, there becomes eventually a safe zone. They become very comfortable. And what I mean by that is all of a sudden they become vulnerable and personable in the sense that I start to learn many things about their business that has nothing to do with the company, but it has to do with them as people. Why, their inner tickings as to what's going on. And then eventually it evolves into them sharing with me very personal things as to relationships they have and struggles they're dealing with personally, the imposter syndromes that they may be challenged with. All of a sudden, the conversation isn't about business as you might think. It's more this very vulnerable yet personable conversation. Is this what you're alluding to?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not quite. I think actually that's more related to certainty, in that they get to the point where they trust you with their deepest, darkest secrets. The best thing to do is actually go onto my website. There's a free test that you can take there. So at some point when you have time, put your coaching hat on and go and take the test on my website, and then we can look at the results that come through from that. So.
I'm excited to do that. And I know that we're going to be offering this to the listeners to do the same, because what I really got excited about as we were beginning our conversation, as I looked forward to this, was the fact that we're getting to the emotional side of the services that we're providing. And one of the things that's very important is we need to recognize that our clients are people. And so I do want to ask why we should be promoting our business at an emotional level. Like, why should we be doing this and how do we do this?
Okay. We need to, we don't have to do this at all. But if you want to grow a business, if you want to stand out from your competitors, and if you want people to choose your accountancy or bookkeeping firm over somebody else's, you need to promote it emotionally. As I said earlier, traditional USPs, unique selling points, they don't work anymore for service businesses because everybody says the same thing. So 4 different accountancy firms might all say, well, we'll get your numbers done on time, or people are our best asset and we're really nice. So there's nothing new there. When you can make an emotional connection with another human being, they are more likely to want to work with you, particularly if they're looking at 3 or 4 different companies to work with. If yours is the one that says, okay, this is what we're doing from an emotional level, then the connection, it happens much sooner and the trust is much stronger. That's why we need to understand the emotion so that we can build those relationships with clients.
Very good. So I know that you're not a fan, or I understand that you're not a fan of social media as it relates to service businesses. Tell me more about that.
Social media. Social media, you can't build a relationship with somebody in 240 characters or in a 300-word post on LinkedIn. It's useful. Some of it is useful. Marketing content is useful in that it provides backup. The the apple tree and Chantal rules of marketing say that the most effective marketing is the ABC of marketing for service businesses.
Okay.
A stands for ask for referrals. Go to your existing clients who already know and love you and ask them who else they can recommend you to. That's number one. B is business networking. Go and network with your clients. Go to events in the room, go to online events, go and speak at events so that people can actually get to know you. And that's what will bring you work. I measure my marketing every few months, and it is consistently a third of my new business comes from referrals, a third comes from me going to networking events, and a third comes from me speaking at events. Now, the C of the ABC is content. And this is very important. It won't bring you business, but it is the backup to the A and the B. So I might receive one of my clients might refer me. In fact, I had a call yesterday from somebody who has been recommended to me. Now, she will have gone to look at my website. She will have looked at my LinkedIn profile. She won't just pick up the phone and say, hello, can I work with you? She wants to see that I know what I'm talking about. So for me, website and LinkedIn, that's what I use. I write a newsletter that goes out every month. That's also available on LinkedIn and on my website. So it provides the proof that the person who recommended her is saying the right stuff. Equally, if I go and speak at an event and somebody thinks, oh, I quite like the sound of her, I'll see if I can find out more. They're going to go and look online. So they want to see in the business arena, they will want to see a website, they'll want to see a LinkedIn profile. They are not going to go onto TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest to look for an accountant. They might be vaguely interested, but I actually actively encourage my clients to keep away from those social media, because if it gets a bit too personal, if you put up a video of your dog doing something funny, yes, the dog-loving potential clients might be interested, but the cat people won't. And the ones who are very professional will go, I don't really care. I'm not bothered about that. So I know there are a lot of people who disagree with me, and that's fine. And a lot of people who just churn out endless social media. It doesn't work. It takes up so much time. It's about building relationships. So if you're going to spend time on anything, pick up the phone, have a conversation with a person.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah.
Do a podcast recording.
There you go. So, so that brings me to a question about, there's a difference between strategy and tactics.
Yes.
There's the big picture, the 30,000 feet view of what we're trying to do, the goals and objectives, and then the tactics of implementing and doing things. Why is it important to focus on the strategy before the tactics?
Because if you jump straight into the tactics, you might say, oh, okay, I'm going to build a website, I'm going to go networking, and I'm going to release some podcasts. Without knowing what you're doing or where you're going, who you're trying to get to, and how you're going to get there, your message will be all over the place. I see this so often. People who go, oh, I have to have a podcast. It's the latest thing. So they start podcasting, and they might do 3 or 4 issues over 3 or 4 episodes over 3 or 4 weeks. And then they run out of steam. They run out of ideas. They don't have enough people to interview. They have no ideas of what they want to be talking about. And it's exactly the same with a lot of social media. There was some numbers produced quite a few years ago now, but with Twitter, which is no longer called Twitter, it was something like 90% of people who opened a Twitter account tweeted once. Yeah, and most of them said, "Hey, I'm on Twitter." And that's it, nothing else. So I see it too often. People start and they don't finish. So and then they waste money on it, and then they say, "Oh, it didn't work." So if you're going to go to a networking event, you've got to go regularly, but you've got to do the strategy before so that you know who your ideal clients. I used to go to a lot of networking events and not to meet my ideal clients because I'd forgotten about the strategic bit. I now am very, very selective on the networking events that I'll go to. I'll only go to ones where I know potential clients will be there, or if a friend's running it and I'll support them. Because I know exactly who my ideal clients are. I know where they hang out. I know what makes them tick. I know what their challenges and issues are. So I go where they are. And otherwise, I could spend thousands of hours and thousands of pounds or dollars going to events where I'm not going to meet the right people. So strategy, it's a bit like getting in a car and saying, I don't know where I'm going, but can you get me there, please, Mr. Sat-Nav? And the Sat-Nav will go, well, where do you want to go? And if you don't know, you can't get anywhere. So,
Well, there's something to be said for a good Sunday drive, but not when running a business. So you're absolutely right. There are a variety of things that I have done as it relates to business that I had to stand back and understand my why. Why am I doing this? Maybe it's that old Simon Sinek type thing, but the point is we're just trying to figure out, okay, there's got to be a purpose behind this. And to your point, when I started the podcast, I had for a number of years prior individuals suggesting that I do the podcast. And I'm just using this as one example.
Yeah.
And I could clearly see the intent. I mean, there was a purpose behind it. There was clearly something that could be done from a marketing point of view as it related to things. I saw that, but the point was that I didn't just want to start and then, like you explained, after 3 or 4 episodes, wonder, okay, now why am I doing this? What am I going to talk about now? And so I went into it with a very long commitment of 1 year. For at least 1 year, I was going to do this. And I was committed to so many episodes, but I didn't start until I understood, okay, who's my audience? What was going to be the topic of discussion? What are we going to do? And the format. How am I going about doing this? Is it an interview? Is it just me talking? How long was it going to be? Once I got that clarity as to what we were doing, and it has evolved a little bit over time, but once I got that clarity, it became so much easier to move forward with it because it had more intent. It was definitely deliberate, and now all of a sudden I had purpose. And so that tactic became a lot easier to pull off because I knew exactly why I was doing it. So I think that is really important. I appreciate you sharing that. So I do need to ask, you were mentioning earlier about your back, and that just sounds painful. I'm curious, so I know you ski. Have you been skiing this season?
I've done 5 weeks of skiing this season. So yeah.
I love it. Where do you prefer to ski?
I have. Well, where did we go this year? One of my favorite places is the Dolomites in Italy, and we've been back there 3 or 4 years in a row, I think. First went 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, this year was year 4. It's there's a place called the Sella Ronda. There's a great big mountain called the Sella, and you can ski all the way around it, and there are routes going around, which is why it's Sella Ronda. Ronda is round. It's a big area. The skiing is fabulous. The food is amazing. The hot chocolate is stunning. So we keep going back, but we stay in different places. So that's a bit of a passion that my partner and I indulge in. The back surgery was March 2023, and I skied March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, exactly 9 months to the day after the surgery. And my consultant knew that was the plan, and he wasn't going to stop me. But I'm very goal driven, and I like having goals, objectives, something in the future to look forward to. Last summer, my back got infected, and it was really quite miserable, and I couldn't do very much. But having the goal of going skiing, because there was a point where I thought, I'm not going to be able to go skiing. I'm going to have to cancel the holiday. Yeah. But I worked really hard. I did the physio. I got the mental health support as well, because my brain was doing all sorts of daft things. And having the vision of going skiing was really that's what kept me going. So, yeah.
I love it. So have you skied in the Southern Hemisphere?
I skied in New Zealand in 1990. I was 19 years old. I was backpacking around the world with my sister. We were on a year out, and we skied for 2 or 3 days in a tiny little place called Rainbow Valley. That was the last time I skied in the Southern Hemisphere. But my partner he's going to kill me for saying this. He's about to turn 66. His birthday is in August. He wants to be skiing on his 80th birthday. So that's 14 years' time in the summer, which means we're going to have to be in the Southern Hemisphere somewhere. So I'm kind of thinking, New Zealand for 3 months or something. So, but we also use that as an excuse to go skiing a lot every winter, because he has to stay fit and healthy and be able to ski. So
yeah. Well, I've got a friend of mine that skis down in Chile every summer here. He goes down there for the winter and skis. has amazing stories. I've been to Chile and love Chile, but I want to invite you, if you haven't been to Utah, we have the greatest snow on earth. We claim that, and it's for
Mm,
very real reasons we say it.
okay.
So
Yeah.
it's a very unique snow.
Mm,
And when you come here and the ski season is good, you will be
mhm,
amazed by what it is as it relates to the powder that we have.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
We skied in Aspen in
Yes.
2019, 2020, just before all the lockdowns hit.
Yep.
I loved it. And the snow was very different. And we couldn't quite work out what it is that makes it different. We just know that somehow the snow is different in North America to how it is in Europe. I mean, it's different in different countries and different
Uh-huh.
the different weather that's going on. But we definitely noticed that the American snow was very different.
Well, it's even different, more
More
different in
different.
Utah than in Aspen because
Okay.
and I'm not a person that's an expert on this, but what I understand is Utah is the second driest state in the United States, and
Okay.
because of the lack of humidity, the lack of the moisture in the
Ah.
air, it causes the snow crystals to be larger. Therefore, they're more fluffy, and it causes for a more
Ooh.
not a slushy, heavy snow, a more
Mhm.
fluffy, buoyant kind of snow powder, and therefore it causes for a very special ski experience. So, yeah,
Okay.
you want to come here to Utah, and you'll experience something very, 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 very valuable. So,
I will add it to my list.
there you go.
It's not someone I didn't even, forgive me, I didn't even know that you could ski in Utah, because everybody talks about places like Steamboat Springs and Aspen, and then up into, I've skied in Canada up near Calgary a few
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
But nobody's ever mentioned skiing in Utah, so I will look into it. Thank you.
We've had the Olympics here in 2002, and we are going to have them hopefully back again. I think it's in 2036 or something
Ooh,
like that.
okay.
So we've had the Olympics here, and they do all the U.S. ski team does their training here in our mountains. So
Okay.
this is where they
Must
do their
be good.
training. So there you
Hmm.
go.
Cool. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and I love the topic of discussion. I'm
Mm.
very excited about this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this up for my listeners. First of all, the offer, as was shared earlier, my listeners need to go to the episode description and find this test that is available for each of us to go take and learn a
Mhm.
little bit more as it relates to the ABCs of selling and so forth. These are things that you want to learn very quickly. It's something I'm going to be taking, and so I invite you to join me in taking this free quiz test, and in doing so, learn a little bit more about what we can be doing to effectively market our services. And then, as it relates to our conversation, I do want to also invite you to, in the episode description, find some information here that is going to be powerful to helping you, because it's the turnkey business plan for accounting professionals. It actually addresses things related to marketing and selling and pricing that you need to understand about your business so that you can go out there and clearly market your services in an effective way to get paid what you're worth. And then I also invite you to, at the same time, check out what it is to leverage your marketing, becoming an author. Authoring a book is a great way to complement the various things that you're doing as a strategy to position yourself as the authority and expert. So definitely some great things there in the episode description that you can look into and learn more about to help grow your business. In addition to this, I do want to point out, as a summary of our conversation, that I really loved our talking points, beginning with the 5 things that she explained as they relate to marketing your business. More importantly, it's those 5 standout strategies. I enjoyed that part of the conversation because we dove a little deeper into there, and she was able to give some greater clarification for me on what it is I need to understand as to how those relate to the marketing. But then we also talked about the ABCs and really how those are very important, because clearly in our networking, for example, we need to be a lot more intentional about who we're trying to work with and meet. And then she spoke of strategy and tactics. I couldn't agree more. Once it's very clear our why, the strategy, the reason behind what we're doing, the tactics become a lot more obvious and easier to do, simply because we're more intentional about what we're doing. So a lot of great little takeaways here from our conversation today. What would you have, Chantal, as a closing thought?
A brilliant bit of advice I was given quite a few years ago, actually by somebody who was a LinkedIn specialist. She said, take it offline as quickly as you can. So if you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, website, social media, even if you meet them at a networking event and you then go and connect with them on LinkedIn, take it offline, pick up the phone, organize a Zoom call if a phone call doesn't work. But, business is about relationships. We've talked about that a lot on this session. It's about relationships. The only way to build a relationship is by having a conversation with somebody. Mm-hmm. And a conversation is, like we've been doing, two people chatting. It's not pinging messages back and forth on email or trading tweets or Facebook messages. So yeah, get it offline. If you want to build your business and find new clients, take it offline and build relationships.
Absolutely love that. Couldn't agree more. In fact, what I'll add is, in addition to taking it offline and having a conversation, I far prefer having a Google Meet, Zoom meeting where I'm able to visually see the individual, read the body language, versus a telephone phone call where I'm just listening. So definitely see face to face and get to know someone a little bit better as it is possible. Clearly, it's not face to face in the sense that we're together, but I'm able to visually see you, and that does help with the connection. Yes. Wonderful conversation. This has been wonderful. So here's what I'm going to do. To my listeners, obviously, I invite you to, if you haven't already, to subscribe to the podcast. We'd love to have you as a subscriber so that you can be notified of the episodes being released each and every week. This is where we have the experts on the show to help us leverage various things as it relates to building the premier accounting firm in your area. In addition to that, I also want you to go to universalaccounting.com and there find the episodes of the podcast where we've collected them into playlists, various topics that you can binge listen, dive into, and as basically a help to running your business, dive into the various topics that the experts have addressed that relate to marketing, selling, pricing, onboarding, tech stacks, staff training, mental health, and such a variety of topics that I feel may be very applicable to your current situation. So go to universalaccounting.com and check out what those are. I also invite you to check out the free resource section. This is a number of tools, resources, ebooks that are available to you as you're running your business that you may want to check out that could easily address the various things that you're experiencing today in your business. In addition, I want to invite you to GrowCon. GrowCon is an annual conference. It's an event that you do not want to miss. It is specifically a conference for owners of bookkeeping, accounting, and tax businesses where we have the experts on the stage. We get to visit with our peers and collaborate, and also hear from and interact with the staff here at Universal Accounting Center, those individuals who are committed to your success, allowing you to actually be in business for yourself, but not by yourself with Universal. I also want to encourage you that if you have any questions about or would like to dive a little deeper into these topics, feel free to reach out to us at Universal Accounting. You can contact us by calling 801-265-3777, or you can visit us at universalaccountingschool.com. And with all that being said, have a wonderful day, be safe, and always remember, accounting success is universal. Take care.